Hello there. You're welcome to Citi Scape on Citi TV. We've been away for such a long time, and what a better way to come back than to start shopping. So today we're going to be talking about grocery shopping. What are some of the things you should consider? I have my shopping list. You should always have one too. And there are a few things we'll talk about as we progress. Welcome to Citi Scape.
Yeah.
They've got millet and rice on brown.
They've got millet and rice on brown.
I think that's so cool.
I thought it was all corn.
Pretty amazing.
That is so cool.
Oh, yes, back to camera. Hi people. Like I said, we're shopping today, grocery shopping. We're at Shop and Save at Adenta Ridge Junction. Local food section, proudly made in Ghana items, amazing. You know, we've been having so many conversations about having local food content on our supermarket shelves, and this can't get any better. But we'll get into that a little later. Today we want to talk about the right way, if there is one, to do grocery shopping. For starters, like I said, I have my shopping list. Eméfa keeps hers on her phone.
Mine's on my phone.
Isn't that heavy?
I know. I should have got a trolley.
You see, Eméfa didn't listen to me when I told her to use a trolley. So let me put her stuff in
Oh,
here.
thanks, babe. As long as you don't mind pushing it around.
You little bully. But yes. So Eméfa has got her.
Yeah, I've got my shopping,
You know.
my shopping list.
Yes. So where's yours? So mine is here.
Yours
I
is
actually
very
haven't-
long compared to
Yeah,
mine.
because I haven't had time to go like proper grocery shopping for a while.
How
Anyway.
often do you do it?
I try to do it like bi-weekly, especially for the perishables, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that a little later. But yeah, shopping list is very important. Why do you need a shopping list? How many of you write them? I like to go old-fashioned way, pen and paper, just because I'm extra.
Because you're an old lady.
I'm not an old
Or you could do it the high-tech way and get it on your phone.
No, but I like to literally cross things out on the list as we go along, see? And then Eméfa's got hers on her phone, you know.
Because I'm high-tech.
Just nice and dainty. But whatever be the case, a list. And I also try to estimate, I don't know if you do that too, I try to estimate how much I will spend per item.
Yeah, so you budget, yes.
If it's something I haven't bought for a while, then I kind of leave it open because I'm not sure how much I will spend. But for the most part, if it's plantain, I know I'm doing maybe 20 cities or 30 cities, depending on what I want to do.
This is a whole event for you.
It is.
I think we have very different approaches to shopping.
So tell me, how do you, so you have your
Well,
shopping
honestly,
list,
throughout the
what goes into
week,
that?
I make my list of things that are sort of diminishing and things that I want to try. And then if I go, let's say on a Saturday, I make the list in the morning, and then I just come and get it done.
Okay, so basically, so I do the same thing as things are finishing in the house, and occasionally, so my husband, I'll let him know if something is running out, just let me know. Or if we have our cousins or guests over, we kindly ask them to do the same. Like, please just let us know if the sugar is running out.
But then always write it down, because
Always
someone
write it
could tell you and you could just forget to
So I
write it
actually
down.
have paper on my fridge. Like, it's that simple. Just write it.
write it down,
It's
yeah.
fine. You know, and then I think, like you said, when you're ready to go, you sort of tweak the list. And then,
You double check right before you get there, and then you get it going.
so when you're going grocery shopping, Eméfa, apart from the fact that you have stuff that are obviously diminishing in your cupboard or stuff that you really need in your pantry, what other things inform what go onto your list?
Mostly food. You know, I love a lot of salads, so I tend to buy a lot of perishable goods. I love my veggies. So every week I have the usual lettuce, carrots, cucumbers, tomatoes, that sort of thing. And then, you know, like from detergent or body lotion, toothpaste, like I was telling you, I'm stealing my friend's toothpaste.
Not to interrupt you, but that's very important because a lot of people, when they're going grocery shopping, don't think that things like body cream and hair cream and toothpaste should be on the list. Yeah, but so that's another thing I do. I segment my list. I think you do the same. So we've got local foods. I don't like write headings. No, look, there's no heading there. But just basically, I'll start by listing the local foods, then move on to maybe the canned stuff, the sugar, milk, things like that. Eméfa.
You didn't have many friends when you were growing up, did you?
I had lots of friends.
Like imaginary friends?
I had imaginary friends though. Anyway,
I'm not
back to the
surprised. Back to your list.
conversation.
Okay.
You see, that's why you're stealing your parents' toothpaste.
Oh wait, I just forgot. It's old age. What can I do?
Okay, so you have that stuff on there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then stuff that I want to try, I always leave it open for things that I've heard of, that, you know, I might want to try. I try making like a new meal that day or something, because, you know, I prep my meals throughout the week, so that also
Because
helps
you're a busy
me.
woman. You're a career
Yeah,
woman.
I am. I mean, I don't have time to be thinking, scratching my head first thing in the morning, what am I taking to work for lunch? So I prep the week before, and then that helps me to come up with my list of ingredients. So if I'm making, let's say, jollof, for example, you know, you've got the usual, the rice and other things I use to make jollof.
The other things you use to make jollof. Maybe we'll have
Depends
a
on
cooking
how you
session
like
another
it.
day.
Let's not have a cooking session, okay? Let's just not do that.
But I mean, that's interesting. I find it interesting that you say you leave space because you want to try new things.
I like to try new things.
You're a glutton. No, but it's a good thing. We love food.
It's in the Bible. Gluttony is a sin.
No, but I was joking.
Okay, cool. I'm a bit of a foodie. So if there's something that I've heard of that I think I want to try, like I've heard of this rice cook and take today, I might try that because I've never heard of it and I can't imagine what it would taste like. So I'll definitely get some of that.
Okay, so then that goes into your budget as well. Obviously, you have like a miscellaneous.
Definitely.
Even though you might not pen a figure down, you know you're.
Yeah,
open.
and that's what, $4.25 per kilo. That's not too bad.
Right.
So.
Second Image International admissions in progress. Courses available include hairdressing, beauty therapy, and fashion. Call us on 0243 331 999. Evening and weekend classes are also available.
Okay, interesting. All right, so let's recap what we've spoken about. Having a list and throughout the week just detailing what's getting finished, what's not, and then on the day you're going shopping, tweaking
Go
it.
through your list,
Okay.
make sure you've got everything down,
Good.
and then leave room for miscellaneous items.
And including toiletries and hair products and body cream and stuff like that. And I think that's particularly important, especially for the ladies, because we usually tend to buy our hair stuff from somewhere different than from where we buy our food. That's fine, but all the same, I think it should be on your list.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and then you know that, okay, I'm not getting it from Shop and Save or whichever shop I'm going to today or whichever market, but I still need this item and it's
And if you
budgeted
don't
for.
like pieces of paper, like me, I might love my phone, but I've got an old school diary that I write everything down in. So if something goes wrong, or, you know, if you forget something, you can easily write it down and go back to that page and find it. Because if you write on a piece of paper, I mean, I know I will lose it. I'll
Definitely. So
throw it away somewhere.
I have a notebook that I have my list in, and I usually have a generic list. Just that when I'm walking around, I don't, you know, want to. So usually when I get back home and I'm doing my final budgeting with my
You
receipts.
cross-check?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes.
You are my person.
Yeah. That's why I love you. No, but it's important.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It
very
is to keep
important.
track of your receipts and to know how much you're
Yes.
spending. It's all
very
part of the
important.
process.
And viewers, a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us don't detail how much we're spending. Look, that one city 50 pesos that you spent on fried yam on your way to work, or you know, or whatever it is, it adds up. So it's very important, especially when you do have the physical receipts, to go back and log it. Cross-check.
And sometimes they put random things on your receipt
Yes.
that you haven't paid for, so it's always good to double check.
So even when you're checking out, good point. Even when you're checking out, you know, one way of making sure that your pocket isn't hurt too much. One way of doing that is when you're checking out at the till, make sure you go through the receipt, and that's where a shopping list again comes in handy, because if you've crossed things out, or you've ticked things or highlighted things or whatever, depending on whether you're using paper or phone, then you know that, okay, I didn't pick this up, it wasn't with my stuff.
It's not in my bag, so why is it on my receipt? Yeah, I know Shop and Save don't do that, but you know, just if you're shopping anywhere else, just keep an eye out, you know.
Very, very important. Okay, so Eméfa, let's move on. We've spoken a little bit about budgeting, but how important is it to budget when you're going out to grocery shop?
Extremely important, especially when you like tasting new food like I do. It's always important. It's always important to know how much you are intending to spend and how much you can afford to spend. So if it goes over budget, you
Different
feel
things,
that
how much you're intending to spend
and how much you can afford to spend. Yeah, you always spend how much you can afford to spend in the end, but you know. So, you know, when you see something that you want to try and it goes over that second budget, you get that nagging feeling inside. You kind of feel bad that you're purchasing it, and it kind of stops you in your tracks a little bit. So I think it's very important, because you might say, oh, you know, it's just this once. It might just be this once 10 times, and that money adds up. Yeah. So I think it's very important to budget.
Okay, so Eméfa says it's very important to budget. Okay, let's move on. Still on the money factor, because really, one of the biggest things you're thinking about when you're going out is obviously money. How much money are you going to spend? Do you have to spend? Do you have available to spend?
Yeah.
And Emma, for someone like you who loves to eat salads and vegetables, I love my veggies and my fruits too. Those are perishable goods. And I find a lot of people thinking that buying in bulk is always a good thing.
Oh my God,
Buying
that's
in
the
bulk is
worst
great,
thing you
yeah,
could do
but
when it comes to perishables.
Yeah.
You know?
I have those points when I've bought so much lettuce and I'm like, oh my God, this is, let me just stock up my fridge. And then by the end of the week, I don't
either
even
they're
want to
frozen or they're manky and slimy.
Exactly. I don't even want to touch what's in the fridge to throw it out. It's a problem.
Especially cucumbers. Have you ever had a rotten cucumber in your fridge?
Sticky
Oh my God,
and smelly.
that's the worst thing. And it's slimy as well. And then,
not cute.
yeah,
At least the carrots
let's
are
not.
dry and shrivel, but the cucumbers, no. Sticky.
Yeah, no, mine went dry and shriveled.
Yeah. not
They
nice.
were slimy as well.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so very important, don't buy perishables in bulk.
Yeah.
Okay, but then how, if you're not buying perishables in bulk, someone like you, again, Eméfa, who does salads pretty much every day, how do you save, on buying your vegetables?
I buy them every week. Sometimes when you're coming back from work, that sort of thing, you can make the effort, make the time to pass by a shop and get some vegetables, but at no cost. I never, ever, ever buy vegetables in bulk because it's absolutely disgusting. It puts you off eating them the following week because you've seen them in that state. But I think I buy every week.
Okay.
It helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's enough for what you can use within the week.
Yeah.
All right. You're watching Citi Scape on Citi TV. My name is Apiorkor. I'm here with a beautiful Eméfa, and today we're grocery shopping at Shop and Save at Adenta Ridge Junction. So far, we've spoken about so many different things. We've touched on budgeting. We've spoken about, we cannot stress this enough, the importance of having a list. We've talked about having a receipt and making sure that you reconcile what you've bought when you get home, and with just to make sure nobody's cheating you, but then also to make sure that your finances are in check. We've also spoken a bit about making sure that perishables, your vegetables, your fruits, you're not buying them in bulk, because if you don't use them, they get spoiled.